Maybe just do a little wiggle side to side or a little shake out, just so you can really start to ground and root yourself into the floor. Check in with your low back. If you need to bend the knees, go ahead and do so and just let the knees fall into each other. Otherwise, we start to feel a little more opening in the chest and in the heart. And start out with closing the eyes halfway. As we just take a moment to notice our surroundings, to notice vibrations around us, all the texture of the environment around us. And it is a practice to just let everything be as is. There's no need to change anything about the moment. We let existence be. We go with the flow. And as you take a big inhale, and breathing all that in, on the exhale, just soften the eyes a little bit more, allowing yourself to go within. And this time checking in with your internal landscape. Begin to observe. You notice the subtle movements of the body with the breath. And the feel as the breath flows through the nostrils into the back of the throat. The way the belly rises with the inhale. And on that exhale, we soften, letting go. I offer this morning, we drop all the agenda, any agenda you have for yourself, for others, and for the world. As we allow ourselves to be in complete acceptance, we feel this sense of surrendering into the here and the now. We feel this quiet power as we let everything be as is. And with that space of non-resistance, we can start to fuel up a little more fully. Every single cell in the body re-energizing, renewing. If you can imagine every cell in your body smiling, being receptive as you continue to breathe in and breathe out. Breathing into the heart of your day. With every inhalation comes an inhalation or an exhalation. With every breath in and breath out, there's a sunrise and a sunset. All of eternity in this one single breath, this one single moment. And with that seed of light placed right at your heart center, cultivating your intention. How do you want to feel? How do you want to be? Begin with that thought. The thought is the seed. And we'll continue to breathe life into our intention throughout practice. You slowly start to awaken your body, wiggling your toes and your fingertips. You're going to rotate your wrist around, rotate your ankle around. Start to reach your arms overhead, legs forward. Take a really big stretch and yawn. As we take a side bend over to the right, so your legs will start to shimmy over to the right side of your mat, upper body and arms. And let your entire body continue to ground into the earth. Once you're there, you can hook your left ankle above the right. You can grab a hold of that left wrist. So we open up that left side, but what the focus here is with our abdomen is that right side, the ascending colon. We feel a slight squeeze. And use the breath to stretch from the inside out. Get a little bit more sensation from the left wrist all the way down to your left ankle. And slowly finding your way back through the center and then over to the left. So gentle bend. As we feel the upper body continue to melt into the earth, you can hook that right ankle above the left. You can grab a hold of your right wrist. And the body comes back through the center. And then on the inhale, just reach those arms back, legs forward again. And then exhale, bring the right knee into your chest. Interlacing the fingertip behind your thigh or in front of your shin bone. And just take a moment to feel the shape here. Feel the sensation in that right glute. Again, the right side is the ascending colon. And we'll inhale, reach those arms overhead, legs forward, take that big stretch. Exhale, left leg will come into the chest and hold and squeeze. This is the descending colon side. And this practice this morning is going to be great for blockages in your abdomen as well, energy blockages. And if you feel any stress or you start to tense up in your stomach, stress. And then on that inhale, reach those arms back, legs forward, breath in. Right knee comes into your chest. This time, as you squeeze in, you can lift your head, lift your forehead towards your knee, squeeze. Inhale, arms reach back, legs forward. So let it be a really slow flow, paying special attention to your exhale. As you lift up, keep extending that exhale, taking a short pause with the breath out. And then inhale, continue on. If possible, every exhale twice as long as the inhale. As always, keeping that breath fluid, even with the retention. So if you feel any strain with the breath, Remember, the breath tells you how you are being in any given moment. So if there's any strain, just go back to the normal breathing pattern. You can even keep your head to the floor. And take one more on each side. No rush getting there. When you finish, you can just simply rest. The rest in between postures, really important as well, letting the body reset, letting the body recalibrate. And then eventually, again, when you finish on each side, arms can come at your side, legs can just splay out. And just take a moment to feel. And this next sequence, we'll do the exact same thing, except both legs will be coming at the same time. So taking the legs forward, you can zipper the legs together, reaching those arms overhead again, inhaling. On the exhale, squeeze the legs into your chest, bending those knees, and again, option to lift up. And then on your own. So if extending the legs is too much on low back, you can just keep the knees bent and just tap the feet to the floor. So remember, see if you can hold a little bit longer on that exhale. This also helps to move the diaphragm up, creating more space for the low back. Take a few more rounds. And once again, when you've finished, you'll find any variation of rest. Legs can splay out, palms can open up. We'll move on from here, extending both legs forward. Arms at your side. You can go ahead and turn the palms down. We're going to be moving one leg at a time. This might help support your low back and core. On the inhale, we'll take the right leg up to the ceiling. On the exhale, that right leg starts to lower to the floor. You'll switch sides on the breath in. Left leg starts to lift up. And breath out, leg lowers. Okay, we'll do 10 rounds. That was round one. Second round. Do your best to keep your legs straight. We're also toning legs, strengthening back and core. Inverting in this way with the legs is really good for varicose veins as well, for fatigue in the legs. So use your breath. The inhale lets you straighten out, extend the leg to the ceiling. The exhale lets you gently lower. Five more. Noticing the details, right side, left side, noticing how this feels on your low back. Engage your core, again, if that helps with low back. And take 2 more. So keeping your foot pretty relaxed here, letting that movement really be in the legs. And last round. And when you finish, we'll go ahead and bend the knees. This time, walk the feet out mat distance and let the knees fall into each other. Daydreamer's pose. And just rest the hands on your belly. And just feel the breath rise into your hands. And go ahead and start to walk your feet back in. Knees remain bent right into Apanasana. So we'll draw the knees into the chest, downward air breath, posture. Hands on the knees, cupping your knees, fingertips forward. Inhale to straighten out those arms. Exhale to hug the knees into your chest. Squeeze. Continue on. So go ahead and use your hands to pull the knees in and out. Keeping your hips relaxed. And see if you can get that exhale twice as long as the inhale. When we exhale out longer, we're also using more oxygen. So you actually receive more oxygen for your brain, for the cells in your body. And once again, this all helps to support your digestive care. And last round. And pulling the knees in, squeeze. Beautiful. Go ahead and start to lower your feet back down to the floor. And then straighten the legs out again. We're going to lift the right leg up to the ceiling. Okay, and this time we're going to stay with the right leg. We're going to do a big circle around. Imagine if your foot is a paintbrush. And as big of a circle as you can do all the way around. It doesn't matter which direction you rotate first. And once again, see if you can go a little slower. So let it be deliberate movements where we can really feel the details. Lubricating the hip socket, thigh bone, plugging in. And then coming to a good stopping point, you'll go the other direction. And just imagine a big paintbrush to make as big of a circle as you possibly can. No more fold all the way around. Beautiful, guys. And then bring it back up to the center and just hug your leg back into your chest and just squeeze in. And let your knee open up to the right shoulder. And the right knee will come back up into a twist this time. Right arm extends. Slowly draw the knee across the chest. You can take your gaze over to the right. Then we come back up to the center. Bend both knees, just the hips and spine. We're back in Apanasana, except this time as the knees come in, you're cupping your knees with your hands. Use less of your hands and your arms, more of your hips to move. Okay, so the arms are just there for support. You use more of your hip flexors as you feel that squeeze, awakening up the psoas, belly drawing in, navel into the spine. And some of you can even release the hands altogether. And you can even tap the toes to the floor on that inhale, and then exhale to hug the legs back into the chest, squeeze. Such a great posture for low back care. As we're tilting pelvis forward and back, massaging sacrum. And once again, that diaphragm moves up, creating space for the low back. Take a couple more rounds. And last time here. Lowering the feet to the floor. Extend the legs long. Take a moment. And then we'll move to our second side as we bring the left leg up to the ceiling, straightening out that leg. And then turning that foot into that paintbrush again. You'll start a big circle all the way around. And if possible, even linking it with breath. The inhale halfway around the circle, exhale all the way around, completing your circle. And then when you come to a good stopping point, going the opposite direction. And one more full circle around. Beautiful. Eventually hugging that left leg into the chest. One more really good squeeze here. And opening up the leg towards the left shoulder. And then into your twist, leg comes up through the center. Extend your left arm out, and then we slowly draw the knee across the chest. Just scooch up on that right hip if that helps. You can take the gaze over to the left to complete your twist. Breath is full and complete. Letting every drop go. You're neither holding on to breath or pushing breath out. So you want to feel that perfect balance of being really alert with the inhalation and relaxed on the exhalation. And then we'll bring the legs back up to the center and bend the knees, adjustment in the hips and spine again. You're going to bring the legs back into the chest. This time we're going to start to rock and roll side to side. And I want you to get to a point where even the legs come down to the floor and then you rock to the other side. Really hugging the thighs in towards your belly if possible. Massaging your low back. And then eventually we come up to the center. This time we rock and roll lengthwise on the spine. Take a few rolls. Maybe you find your way all the way up that cervical spine. A couple more. And then we eventually come up into a seat, right into plank, or excuse me, right into boat pose. You're going to start to lean back a bit, lift up in the chest. Remember, you have the option with your hands for support behind you, behind your thigh, or just reaching the hands forward. Notice if you're rounding here, see if you can just feel the heart center draw forward a bit, gazing up, scooping your belly in, engaging core. You have 3 full breaths. One more big inhale. Exhale to lower the feet to the floor. Just give yourself that hug. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet to touch. Let those knees open up. We go right into butterflying the knees. So wiggling the knees up and down. Remember, it helps to flame your digestive fire. Also great for continuing to lubricate that hip socket. Sit tall in your spine. Press into your sits bones. Helping to strengthen our digestive system. Eliminating energy blockages in the abdominal area. Keep breathing. You can close the eyes once you have it. Continue on. Keep going. We're going to do this for another minute. Few more breaths. In all the way to your belly, exhaling out every drop. And then softening as you exhale this time, melt the chest towards your toes. And tuck your chin, drop your mind towards the heart. And then slowly rise up and just find a regular seat, anything that's comfortable for you. If you need a pillow to sit on, you can grab a blanket or any prop. And we'll just move into neck and shoulders. So once again, feeling the elongation of your spine. We start to tuck the chin on the exhale. We're lifting the chin on the breath. And breath out to tuck the chin. Inhale, lift the chin. Open the throat. Exhale to tuck the chin. One more time. And as that chin tucks, go and start to take the chin towards your shoulder. And then slowly letting the head dip back on the breath in. Exhaling, chin to up shoulder. And as you tuck that chin all the way back around, continue with your breath, opening the throat on that breath in and tucking the chin on the breath out. Eyes can be opened or closed. And then eventually coming to a good stopping point as you go the other direction. Notice if your feeling an urgency to move quickly. Always in observance of ourselves, noticing the habits of our mind. And eventually we come back through the center. Head is to neutral as we take the right ear to the right shoulder. I'm going to reach across with that right hand. Give your head a gentle nudge. Your left hand can come down to the floor, pressing down. You can also take that left hand and just wrap that hand behind you, palm will face out. You can just shimmy that hand over towards that right side body. And you'll just release that right hand down to the floor. Inhale to lift your left arm high to the sky. And then exhale to bend over to the right. And then you can walk your hand gently away. You can drop on down to your forearm. And then start to spin a little bit more open. And then we rise back up and exhale to release. Sitting tall once again, draw those ears back over the rib cage, and then we take the left ear to left shoulder. And then reaching across with that left hand as an option to draw down a bit, using the weight of your hand. You know, your option here, right hand can just remain on the mat. You can also wrap that behind your back, palm facing out. Slow and deep with the breath. Slow and deep into the heart of the day. And then we can gently release, bringing your left hand down to the floor, reaching your right arm up to the sky, breath in, and then exhale for your side bend. Keep grounding your right hip into the mat and spin the chest open. And then inhale, we rise back up, releasing the hands. This time, walk the hands gently behind you, fingertips facing forward or turned out slightly. We're going to start to lean back, press into the heel of your hand as you open the chest more. Smile your collarbone. Some of you lifting your hips here is an option. Otherwise, remaining as is. Feel. Pressing into your hands. Big breath. And then the exhale, we gently come on back down, walking those hands forward, finding a forward fold, letting your head soften. You can even come down to your elbows. And then we'll all rise back up. This time, interlacing those fingertips together, turn those palms out. Start to tuck your chin and round the upper spine. So feel the stretch in your hands, feel the stretch in your wrists. Take an inhale. Stay for your exhale. Inhale, rise back up, bending your elbows, bringing the hands towards your heart center. Exhale to tuck the chin, press into your hands, round your spine. Do two more, breath in and breath out. Last time, inhale and exhale. Taking those palms up to the ceiling, reaching high. See if you can elongate the sides of your waist a little bit more. You can gaze up. And maybe just taking your gaze over to the left and to the right. And then we slowly release those arms, releasing the hands to the knees as we just close the eyes for a moment. Breathing infinite space into the lungs. And then we'll go ahead and take those arms forward this time. Tuck your thumb in between the, and make a big fist. So tuck your thumb in. Keep your palms facing down, and we start to rotate the wrist around. Slow and steady, focusing. And then going the opposite direction. Take another 5, 4, last 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Turn your palms up this time. We bend the elbows, tap the shoulders, exhaling the breath. Inhale, straighten out those arms, palms up, exhale, tap your shoulder. So keep going here. Remember, this tones the arms. We're also lubricating the elbow joint. 10. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Tapping the shoulder, we'll roll those elbows back. Big circle around. So again, let your elbow be that paintbrush this time, circling around and around. And we'll go the other direction. A lot of this is the traditional yoga postures and movements. Really, the goal is to prep us for enlightenment or meditation. And go and release those arms. So really, you just want to be able to feel good in the body, right? So just shake out those shoulders. We're going to extend the legs out into a V shape. A little tap of the knees. And we're going to do a twist here. So you're going to open up those arms and you're going to rotate to either direction and then see if you can gaze behind you towards your other hand. Now, I'm not so concerned about reaching your toes. It's more about the rotation and the twist. And then I'm going to offer, actually, we keep the arms in alignment as well. So keeping them rotating in the rib cage is what turns the arms. We come back to the center, inhale, keep that nice long T in the arms, rotating the other direction. Maybe gaze behind you for a moment. And then we come back, let's do one more round. Exhale again, just in the rib cage. And we come back. And one more here. And then come back around. This time we actually reach towards the toes or your shin bone, wherever the hands lay. And we come back, inhale. Exhale, reaching towards the other foot. You're just going to do that on your own with the breath, inhaling and exhale. Using that abdominal core as you pull that belly in on the breath out. As we feel the back line of the body stretching. We'll take one more round on each side. Coming back through the center, we'll reach those arms up to the ceiling. Inhale and exhale to forward fold as you reach forward and down. Releasing the hands, letting your head soften. Then go ahead and gently rise up, bending your knees. Legs are about a little bit wider than shoulder width. Lean back on your hands. We just do a few wipers first. And start to just get our body accustomed to the shape. So this is internal rotation of the thigh. And then go ahead and let the knees fall over to the right. And then the feet will be over to the left. And continue to just lean back a little bit and push that left hip forward a tad more. So that's that, again, that internal rotation on that left thigh bone. Squeezing your glutes, helping to open up the front of the pelvis. Now, some of you may be coming down to your forearms here. So don't worry about where you're situated on your mat. We're just doing the postures, not so concerned about top of the mat or back of the mat. And we'll take just a couple more breaths here. Opening up quad as well, knee. And then we all rise up if you're lying down. Stay with this shape. We're just going to turn the torso over to the right and keep walking the hands behind you into your twist. And then coming back through the center, leaning back on those hands, bring those legs forward. We do a few wipers, again, just wiping the slate clean. And then to our second side, as we let the knees drop over to the left this time. And any adjustment you need to make sure you're in somewhat alignment for your body. Now, once you're there, again, just gently lifting up in the hip a bit, rolling that right hip forward and squeezing your right glute. You can stay right here. Some of you dropping down to your forearms, leaning back. And then we gently lift up if we're down on the mat, and then rotating over towards that left side, walking the hands over and then to the back, gazing behind you. And then you'll come back around. And then we'll lean back again, bring those legs forward. Here's a few wipers. And then keeping the knees up, feet to the floor. You're going to take your right arm up to the ceiling, inhale. And then exhale, just reach over to the past that left knee. Inhale, arms go back up, or arm goes up. Exhale to release. Switching sides, left arm reaching up. Exhale to reach and rotate and twist. Breath in, arms go up. Exhale to release. Let's do a few more rounds on your own. Maybe even hold and press into your knee with the elbow if you want a little more rotation. And eventually you'll find your way into all fours, swinging the legs behind you. Again, take your time getting there. You need a blanket under the knees. You can grab a hold or just pad up your mat. And then from there, just yogi's choice, yogi's movements, wiggling the hips out, down dog. You can just simply do some hip circles, shoulder rolls. You can be in stillness. Really making the practice your yoga. Then we're all going to meet on the knees into child's pose. And you're going to go ahead and take your fists, and you're just going to give yourself a little abdominal massage. You're going to fold over your hands as in that fist and just sort of rub a bit in your abdomen. And we'll go ahead and just slide those hands back out. You're going to curl your toes under, so your heels are lifting up. We're going to rabbit's pose. You're going to tuck your chin a whole lot. Take your hands, start to reach towards your heels. Now you can stay right here. Maybe just lift the hips up a bit. Some of you tucking the chin even more and coming to the crown of your head. Just be very mindful of your neck. Try not to look around a whole lot here. Just keep your gaze soft. And just stretching out the space between your shoulder blades, back of your heart center. Big breath. And breath out, slowly softening. Uncurl your feet and gently rise up on the shin bones. So gently roll our way up. And then leaning back on your hands, roll those shoulders back. So fingertips forward. Now, stay here for a moment. Some of you bending your elbows back a little bit more, opening up the chest, the pecs even more. And then we'll all straighten out those arms, pushing into the hands. Option to lift your hips. Squeeze the glutes, press into your shin bones. Beautiful, you guys. Good. Lower your hips down. Walk those hands forward again. Find your way into all fours. So we'll just do a few rounds of cat-cow. You can also do seated cat-cow. Curling and uncurling your tailbone. Eventually finding your way into a neutral spine. We'll extend that right leg back behind us. Press through your back heel. Feeling the back of the knee opening. And then shift your weight forward again. Pick that right foot up, place it to the left side of your mat. And then we walk the hands over to the left and just simply gaze behind you. And then walking the hands back to the center, slowly bringing yourself back to all fours. Switching sides, left leg extends back, follow the foot on the floor, press through your heel. So start with the heel on the mat, and we'll just press through that heel, feeling the stretch in the back of the leg. And then we'll shift that weight forward, take that left foot to the right side of your mat, and then walk the hands over to the right. And then we'll come back through the center, back through all fours. Drop on down to your forearms and just shimmy your knees back until you find your hips to the floor. You're in Sphinx. Elbows directly underneath those shoulders. Press down to feel your heart center melt through your arms. Slide those hands back towards you without moving the hands. Just feel the chest forward. And then go ahead and just bring your elbows into the center and then just let your face rest in your hands. Just caress your face. And just imagining the belly, the abdomen like a drain, the belly button, everything just draining out. Anything that doesn't serve you in this moment. And then we'll move into a little bit more shoulders and quads. So let's go ahead and come on down to your hands. So create a little pillow with your hands and let your head rest. And then we'll start out with it doesn't matter which arm you start out with. We're going to extend that arm out like a half T, taking your gaze the opposite direction. So we're going to be rolling onto that shoulder. Soft bend in your knees and gently roll onto your extended arm. Now, you can stay right here. If it's too much in any way on your shoulder, just roll back onto your belly more. And then we're going to add a quad stretch in. So you can start to just slide that top leg back a little bit. That can be plenty for some of you to feel a sensation in the front of your thigh. Some of you grabbing a hold of your ankle or your pant leg and just drawing that heel in towards your glute. And then slowly releasing as you roll back onto your belly. And then we'll switch sides. Opposite arm can extend out. Soft bend in your knees as you roll onto your shoulder. Okay, letting your head rest to the floor if possible. If you need a pillow, you can also place a pillow underneath the head. And then just taking that top knee and just sliding it back or grabbing a hold of your ankle. Slow and steady breaths. And go ahead and gently release that, rolling back onto your belly. Gently pushing yourself up and back. Few breaths either in down dog or child's pose. Wiggle out your hips. And then we're moving into half pigeon next. So let's drop onto the knees first. If you need a pillow nearby or a blanket, just grab a hold. If you need to lie on your back for the pose, please do so. Those of you that already know where you're going with this pose, go ahead and find your way there. I trust you know your way. You're gonna follow me. I'll be in that seated variation through down dog. We'll take the right leg up. We'll bring the right knee to the right wrist, ankle towards the left wrist. Dropping onto the back knee, and we scooch the knee back, scooch the knee back. Now this is where a pillow can come in handy or a blanket. If you have space between you and the floor, just slide that prop underneath to support you. Otherwise, just lie down on the floor, especially if you have knee injuries or hip injuries. Okay? And then you can fold once you get there. Now, it's important to keep your hips squaring to the short end of your mat. And the reason being is we keep elongating the spine that way. We keep the channels of the spine open, which is your lifeline. And then see about relaxing those shoulders, your jaw. And I love that this practice can allow us the space to just feel. And it's feeling and experiencing without the judgment. So I liken it to a tree experiencing wind or a flower feeling grass. Okay? There's just this sensation without language. And slow and deep. Steady breath is a steady mind. I'll be here another minute or so. And then before moving to your second side, you can gently rise up and wiggle out, do some wipers, okay, finding your transition, path of least resistance. Yes, wiggle it out and get some movement through your thigh. Great, you guys, I'm seeing lots of different variations. And you know what's next. On your own time, in your own way, you can start to find your way to your second side. Left leg coming forward. You can step forward first and then just scoot your foot over to the other side, or going right in, left knee to left wrist, ankle towards the right. As you scoot your back knee towards the back of your mat more, as you continue to inhale, lengthening, elongating the spine, dropping in on the breath out. Feeling your shoulders start to melt from your ears. Notice if you're leaning over a lot on that left side. See if you can level out the hips a little bit more. Yeah, there it is. Good. Really small adjustment, but again, it can elongate that spine more. You want to keep the channels of the chakras open. You have 7 energy channels in your spine, starting at the root all the way to the crown of your head. And closing the eyes, breathing in and through the hip. Every exhale, letting go of any resistance. Every inhale, we create the space from within. We expand our capacity for breath, for life. We'll stay for another minute. And in the next few breaths, beginning to make your way towards your counter pose. Wiggling out your hips, movement in your thigh. And we'll all go ahead and find a seat. Well, we'll seal our time together before Shavasana. Letting the hands rest on your knees or in your lap. And once again, close the eyes. We begin with one single breath. We start small and the world expands. Letting gratitude wash over you. Gratitude for this one single breath, this one single moment. And we'll bring the hands together in prayer as we bow our heads to each other and to the practice. We'll do 3 ohms together, raising vibration. Remember, the sound is a 3-part sound. Ah, oo, Begin by exhaling the breath. Let every drop go. We'll chant with this inhale, fill in and up. And one more silent Om to yourself. As we sit in devotion to each other, to the practice, remember devotion is love. I so appreciate your time, your energy, your beautiful breath. Thank you so much for being home. Going to find our way into final pose, into Shavasana. You can make your way down to the floor. If you want to put layers on, socks or sweaters, now's a lovely time. I'll talk you through the first couple minutes and then I'll just lead you to your own sacred Shavasana time. I recommend at least 10 minutes or more. And as you come down to the mat, as you feel your body rooting into the earth, again, we surrender, we drop agenda for ourselves, others, and the world. And instead, we simply love ourselves, others, and the world for exactly the way it is. We start small with that breath in and breath out. And from there, the world expands. Slow and deep into the heart of the day. With each inhalation comes an exhalation twice as long. Slow and deep, filling the lungs with infinite space. The body relaxes, the mind quiets, the breath light and fluid. There is nothing holding you back, and there is no reason to hold on. Again, I am so deeply grateful for you. I leave you with love and light. I leave you with power and with peace. Namaste.